Bring in Rich Eisen, NFL Network host. He's thrown out the first pitch at the Dodgers game, so obviously he knows Yasiel Puig.
Yes, I did.
Hi, Rich.
Well, it was the current closer of the Dodgers was the one who caught the ball. Noah Jansen.
Oh, well, nice.
And just saying that he became the closer about a week after he did that, so there is a correlation in case anyone's wondering.
Well, the guy who caught my first pitch with the Cubs, Carlos Marmol, he's been released. Not necessarily because of that, but I'm just saying. No.
Yeah, no, there's no correlation there. But in terms of him getting the closer's gig, for me, I think is a correlation.
Of course.
Neither here nor there, but I agree with you that Puig should be in the All-Star game. Anybody who's a star, anything that you can help the broadcast, anything that can help the game, who wouldn't want to tune into that guy? 100%. I agree with you.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Rich.
Anything else you need confirmed?
No.
Okay.
No. I was bothered by Shabazz Muhammad across the street for the draft, and then came back in once he got drafted. Like it was okay. Is it safe yet? Is it safe? Yes, it's safe. Yes, it's so safe.
Maybe he was the marathon. Maybe he was running the streets of New York to kill time.
But this is Geno Smith effect that we've seen. If you start to fall or think you're going to fall, should we protect you?
Well, I mean, the league has essentially done that with the NFL, has essentially done that by not allowing cameras to shoot these kids past a certain point on the clock, A, and then B, if they fall past a certain point, usually around the 10th pick, they just don't show them at all. Geno Smith was a sort of a different story, but I don't know about ESPN. We really weren't just like showing him constantly after every pick. We sort of protect the kids in that regard, and I think ESPN does the same.
Would you let Shabazz Muhammad back in the building to go up on stage?
Or did he get one of those like Disneyland stamps that you can't see on your hand? They had to use a certain light to see on your hand to get back in. Yet, you know what? Obviously, you got kids who are just of a certain age and probably aren't thinking very well. But
well, his agent did it. His agent said, "I'm gonna stash over here at the hotel," and then they can't put a camera on you.
Yeah, I hear you. It's strange, but. Would you not have let him back in the building, Dan?
No, it'd be just like the Miami Heat fans who left after Game 6.
Sorry. Yeah, there's no reentry.
No reentry. I'm sorry. I can't do that. What's going to happen when he faces a real crisis in playing the game of basketball?
Well, that's the question about any of these kids. That's a question about Geno Smith here, too. Is that any adversity that he faced in the draft, and if this was a reaction that he had in regards to that, what's going to happen the first time, in New York City, in MetLife? What's going to happen the first time anything happens? I mean, shoot, any Jet quarterback, the guy across the locker room will tell him, something's going to happen in 3 minutes, the proverbial New York minute.
Well, did you see the Mark Sanchez video?
I did. I saw the moon and the sun and the stars. I saw it all. I did. Not good.
Look, he's single. You can do what you want, but you're also the leader of a team. And I think that's what people have had a problem with this, that I refer to it as another butt fumble, that, you can't be in this position. If you want to have fun, go crazy. But here we are worried about Gronk. I mean, look at Gronk compared to Aaron Hernandez. We were worried about the wrong guy there. And here's Sanchez trying to prove that he is the quarterback, and you just drafted a guy who is going to replace you.
But as you point out, he's a single guy. His mistake was, if somebody's shooting it with a phone, you delete before anybody leaves the room, or you just stop what you're doing if somebody busts out a phone.
Well, it makes me worried about his vision on the field. If he can't see a camera behind, I mean, you gotta see that defensive player coming right at you with a camera there.
Exactly. Problem seeing the field. Sometimes the speed of the game is a little bit too much for these guys. You're right.
I'm curious about the football part of the Aaron Hernandez story, that we know he's not going to play even if he goes through this trial and somehow found innocent. But the Patriots style was tight end heavy. Now, what do you do? Is there a chance that they could change their style?
Of course, there's no doubt. Listen, everybody in New England has the phrase, "In Bill we trust, and Tom we trust." That's it. And as long as there's that coach and there's that quarterback, I would never, ever say, "Oh, that's it for the Patriots," ever. Because how many times do you see guys who have careers that are average, a little bit above average, go to that team and then suddenly explode with effectiveness? Now, my issue with them is still, period, 100% the Welker thing. I'm genuinely concerned that Amendola is not going to be Wes Welker. I mean, we constantly call everybody like Amendola, Stokely, pretty much everybody that Peyton Manning's ever played with, the poor man's Wes Welker. So now Peyton Manning has, after playing with the poor man Wes Welker for his entire career, the actual genuine article. And Tom Brady has a guy who has some ability. There's no question about it, but he has not had the ability to stay healthy. That's always been my concern in terms of that, the offense, whether it will be able to find its extra gear or not. And with Aaron Hernandez, obviously, the football aspect of it, that is a difficult blow. But, the running backs in the last couple of years have shown some explosiveness. McDaniels is an ingenious guy, and Belichick is another one of the guys that you never look past, obviously, in that regard. And if Tim Tebow doesn't use this opportunity, yes, I went there. If he doesn't use this opportunity to take stock, what happened?
He can't play tight end, Rich.
I'm not saying to play tight end, the Woodhead role. The Woodhead role. You put Tim Tebow in that role.
Oh, you're crazy.
I'm not crazy.
If I told you a month ago only one of these guys would be on the field for the Patriots week one, Gronkowski, Hernandez, or Tebow.
Or Tim Tebow. It's crazy how quickly things change in the NFL. It really, really is. And, again, he's got the coaching staff who has the ingenuity. He's got the quarterback who will deliver him the ball. He's got it all set up. If there's ever a time for Tebow to take stock and say, listen, none of us out there, you, me, Dan, everybody who's in your studio right now, anybody who's listening, we all have the default mechanism in our lives that when people tell us we can't do something, we're going to prove them wrong. So it's difficult for me to say this because I'm one of those type people too. Tim Tebow wants to prove everybody wrong that he can play quarterback. It's just not going to be on this team. If he wants to try and make the Patriots as a third quarterback, he's got a real good chance of being on the couch by Labor Day. If he wants to diversify and go ahead and try and figure out something else to do on the football field, what an opportunity he has before him to maybe do that, succeed at it, perhaps win Super Bowl rings, and do whatever he wants to do. This is the opportunity before him now.
He's Rich Eisen from the NFL Network, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. I had mentioned about Jim Tressel being punished by the Colts with what happened at Ohio State. He got punished. Terrell Pryor got punished when he came into the NFL by the commissioner and the Raiders. And I said, what about Chip Kelly? Mm-hmm. You leave Oregon, and yeah, I know that the punishment, the penalty is not as severe as Ohio State, even though we could argue that a little bit. But should the NFL, the commissioner said, if the Colts didn't suspend Jim Tressel, who was a video consultant, a replay consultant, I would have. I haven't heard the commissioner say anything about Chip Kelly coming into the NFL.
Well, obviously every situation is different, and this is the head coach of a team, not a video consultant.
Wait. You can't pick and choose. It's
yes,
like
you can.
No.
Oh, sure you can.
No, you can't.
Sure you can. How many times do you see the star player doesn't get popped for something internally in a team that a scrub gets made an example of?
Well, this is a commissioner. Commissioner can't pick and choose.
Sure he can.
Well, he shouldn't.
Yes, well, that is the issue. Should he or shouldn't he? But he sure can. And this is a head coach of a team. This is a head coach of a team. And just flipping the script, conversely, real convenient of the NCAA to just slap those who are still there on the wrist.
Oh, yeah.
And here's how we're going to hit you. That coach that's never coming back, Chip, don't don't you dare think about coming back to the NCAA for the next year and a half with you leaving for a high-profile coaching gig in the NFL being paid millions of dollars. Don't you think of coming back here?
But I've got to have that.
Come on. That's very convenient. Well, don't say we didn't punish Oregon. There's a show cause on the coach. Well, please. So it is hypocrisy all around.
The 18-month penalty should stay with him if he, whatever. I mean,
so you think the commissioner of the NFL should step in right now and tell the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, because the NCAA popped him for a year and a half,
he was going to punish Jim Tressel. He said if he doesn't say anything, then I don't bring it to anybody's attention. But he said if they didn't punish Jim Tressel, I would have.
Well, call up the commissioner, have him on.
Wait, he's your boy. I mean, he's your boss.
He is that, by the way.
He's your boss.
If anybody asked him, who is he, I'd say, he's my boy. That's exactly how I would describe him.
All right, I got to go.
All right.
Have a great weekend.
You too. By the way, your son came over with his lovely girlfriend, and a dog.
Yeah, Cooper.
Who left 4 presents behind.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, name the dog the same name as I've named my second son.
Yes.
So that was fun.
Well, I was going to have him call him Barkley.
He's too little to be called that.
I know, but he said I want to call him Cooper, so maybe he named him after your son. I don't know.
It's so great. Where my son's 2.5. Where he's just beginning to learn his name, right?
Yeah.
And every time, like, no, Cooper. The kid whips his head around. What? No, not you. You're allowed to poop where you are.
Have a good weekend.
All right, take care.
All right, that's Rich Eisen, NFL Network host.